Live from Studio 1396, Columbus, Ohio, broadcasting over 100,000 watts of all-American electricity. This is the Late Lap, and we've got a good friend of ours in the hot seat for the very first time. Dujanay Bland. DJ, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, trying to share this show so we can get as many people watching in on this thing as possible.
Oh, I'm telling you, we're here. We are not going to play by the rules tonight. We know that about each other.
You got that right. No rules.
We got some fun. I promised the world a lot more shows than we get to do, and there's some excuses, some real good ones. But I wasn't about to do a show tonight. And we were texting, we were catching up a little bit, and DJ says, hey, why don't we just do it?
Send it.
And I said, well, as long as Dale Jr.'s High Rock's on the table, cheers. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So I want to start with NASCAR. I got to jump right into this. We are rolling without a script. So if you tune in every night, this is a conversation. This is maybe a debate tonight. We don't know how each other feel about these headlines. NASCAR about 2 hours ago, Fox reporter Bob Pockrass reporting that NASCAR has told him the 2311 teams and the Front Row Motorsport teams owned by Bob Jenkins, they're going to go without charters for at least the next two races while their ongoing lawsuit continues. And immediately, let's just say, what are your thoughts? These are 5 of the 36 charter teams now flying solo, baby.
It's interesting. It seems like NASCAR would want to have the charter system because it benefits these teams greatly by having it. I don't know what the big deal is of being against it, but then I'm also, as the traditionalist of, watching during the Dale Earnhardt senior days and Tony Stewart's and, those guys, Bill Elliott's of the world, the single car teams were great and all the individuality was great because I believe in these rules with the charter, they get a guaranteed spot in the in the race, and that kind of takes away from the ability of qualifying. What's the purpose of qualifying if you're already in? So there's a twofold chord with this, and I understand one side, but in the other side of the traditionalist and the fact that how we are in drag racing, you got to qualify to get in. There are no guaranteed spots. There shouldn't be any guaranteed spots in NASCAR. You got to run well to get in. If you don't run well, then guess what? Your butt goes home.
Yeah, I certainly have always agreed with that. And what I'm finding to be more and more interesting as we cover stock car racing is that we're idiots. And when I say we, and you've shared before, you like NASCAR and you followed it for decades, but you don't commit to it, right?
Right.
But the fact that you still watch sometimes means that you're an idiot with me, my friend.
Right.
Because we love it. It's fast cars. It's very pro-military, pro-faith. It's the old school. Now, there's certainly some roots that I'm not in favor of, but it's an old school traditional sport. Use that word tradition. And drag racing is a traditional sport.
It is.
And of course, they're sports based around the automobile. And that's what makes me love racing. A lot of race fans don't even consider the automobile to be part of it anymore. But so many ways they're not traditional. They have stage breaks. Imagine. Yeah. Okay, so if you don't know Dujanay, he is a motorsport reporter. He is a writer. He's a podcast host, football analyst. Imagine in the NFL if at halftime the Washington Commanders were up by 42. First of all, we all know that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And then going into the second half, they say, okay, we all have the same score. We're going to flip a coin and see who gets to go first in the second half. So that's what they did with stages starting in 2017. Yeah. And these charters, it would be like saying your favorite pro stick and ball sport team's guaranteed in the playoffs because they have a big budget and sponsors to make happy.
Yeah.
It's crazy is what it is. And yet I still love it. I still watch NASCAR as often as I can. But when these moments happen, I mean, it's huge. So 5 cars, if they wreck, they no longer make the show. And that's not NASCAR. They used to have a champions provisional. They had standard provisional. So the big names are always really locked in. It's definitely big. Now, I think it's fair for us to both admit we're not really the experts on their sport.
Right.
Either one of us, we're really claiming that straight line racing. And here in my neck of the woods, the International Hot Rod Association was in town last week. I am going to bet that you were tuned in pretty hardcore, no?
Oh, yeah. From start to finish, and I never watched the sportsman class in any NHRA event. No offense to those guys, but the IHRA made it very interesting, despite what some may say. I thought the commentary, the getting to know the personable, the people inside the cars really helped. But the pace as well with the sportsman class, and it was great racing. So I watched from start to finish.
Well, I was fortunate to be there from Thursday onward. The event was scheduled professionally to be a 3-day, 2.5-day show. If you're calling Nitro Pros, it was a 2-day show. If you're calling some of the other class pros, it was a 3-day show. Of course, rain came in Saturday night and postponed it. And so what was weird about the postponement was Friday we went until 12:30 or 1 Eastern time racing. No rain. Saturday we had the rain come in, but it was, I don't know what time it was, 4 or 5 in the early evening. It took several hours to get it done. They got it done, but then it was that dew and that moisture and that air.
Yeah.
How about those late nights here in Columbus? When I go to the drag strip with the National Hot Rod Association, and this isn't a promoter's piece, this is the local government. A lot of these tracks we attend have curfews.
Yeah.
I don't know if National Trail has one or not, because we sure as hell didn't enforce one.
Exactly. There was no curfew at National Trail at all. And, it's wild what they had to endure that whole entire weekend. Everything that the NHRA would experience in a year, they experienced in one day. From big car fire that set things back, to weather, to cars driving through the sand trap into the road out there, into the cornfield, guys staying in it and jerking the wheel a little bit and tagging both walls and ending up in the sand. Like, they had everything that you would experience in a year in one race. And I thought, despite all of the things they had to endure, it was a good product. It was a very good product. And something I feel like we talked to Scott Palmer yesterday on the Power Hour. I talked to Mike McIntyre on the Not Bland show, and they all said just the treatment of the racer. They felt like they were the centerpiece. It was about them, not about the establishment.
Well, I think that in person, and I see our good friend Dave W. here in the comments, in person, you saw it. And I did a rant Monday. Anyone tuning in for the first time, or anyone who might have not had the chance to watch over the weekend the great racing that they put together, I appreciate what you said. It's about the driver, not the establishment. But, man, it was about everybody, not the establishment.
They all pitched in.
I mean, every man and woman that walked in that track felt like they were a part of something, whether they were, a fan paying or if they were a worker getting paid. We all felt like we were part of it. And I've felt that with other promotions as well, but it was just such a high concentration, and that's a good point. Scott Palmer, and I quoted him on my talking head at the track, he told me earlier in the year, he was, watch your ears, folks, he said, I'm going to fucking have fun this year. Those are his words. And I asked him, I said, are you? And he said, oh, yeah. And we just lost 3 listeners as soon as I said that. Isn't that funny how that works? But you know what? I don't know that you're not a swearing man, at least not in my eyes. But Scott Palmer is, and he don't have no shame. And that's what he said to me. He was so excited. You know, he said we're having fun. And the other thing was, there's room. Oh man, something NHRA does so well is the product placement. I mean, you cannot blink your eyes without seeing a Toyota logo at an NHRA race, right?
You got that right.
So IHRA, we had the Real American Beer brand, which is Hulk Hogan's brand, and they were activating all over. You had the beautiful girls serving the beer. You had the fans with the icy cold drinks everywhere. And I'll be darned if Scott Palmer wasn't handed a Coors out of the minivan as soon as he got out of the race car. And that's nobody's fault, but it's an opportunity to really push good product in the future. I'm sure that his guys just had some Coors in the van, and I thought it was so funny. You know, what an opportunity the next time he wins a race. Of course, top fuel dragster Krista Baldwin, she wasn't rooting for the great Scott Palmer. She and her team, Bobby Lane and the boys, they wanted that win, and it was this close.
It was. And Scott said he was rooting for her. I had picked her early before this whole thing started. Krista was my pick, and it was so close. She's going to get one of those Ironman, though. It was a great race by both of them. And, man, Scott with the win and his first in a while, you know. Gotta love it.
I agree. Krista is so warm and bubbly and cute and great. She is just like, I almost want her to piss somebody off because I want to see the dark side of Krista Baldwin. But we all know that if she ever runs somebody unwell, she'll go to the top end, shake their hand, and apologize. Say, listen, I didn't mean to roll in on you, you know, or something. She is just so genuine, and she works hard. You know, for a year or two, she was part of the .TV broadcast and was doing the features and doing some social media. I'm not sure if she's doing that this year for, you know, West Coast, but which is, by the way, I'm going to sneak that in, folks. I'm going to refer to NHRA as West Coast and IHRA as Midwest, just every now and then to see who's listening.
Yeah.
Because this is, and I swear, I want to compliment you because I think that we had a great idea, but we never talked about it ever. All weekend at the track, my man Logan Morris, Mr. Loganity, was there, and we kept saying, this is professional wrestling territorial. Yep. This is Mr. McMahon Sr. This is McMahon Jr. versus Ted Turner. This is the Monday Night War. This is Tony Khan. This is the Wednesday Night War. You pick the era. This is a regional promotion with a big, massive budget, but a little small audience saying, hang around. We're going to be right there with you real soon. And you shouted that out. I believe it was on Power Hour. And I thought, we're the same mindset right now because if you've never watched pro wrestling over a 45-week period in a row, you're missing out because some of the ratings duels are the best in all of professional media. They are.
They really are. And, you know, with this whole thing coming to life, there's now some belief in it because others have seen it happen that may have been on the fence. The daring to be different in what they've done, taking care of the racer, feeding the racer and his crew, people riding around, handing out ice, things of that nature. It's the little things that change the narrative. And look, for us and for nitro racers especially, it's another place for them to race. They don't have any other place to race like everybody else with door cars.
Sure.
This gives them another place to race, but at the same time, it allows people who don't have the mega budgets to be able to go out there and race for a championship. And whether folks like it or not, whether the company men of NHRA like it or not, you need IHRA to be great. Because at the same time, look at what happened when we had the now USFL, the XFL become Great. Well, NFL started using these Madden-like cameras in the end zone. They changed the kickoff rules. You saw all these rule changes that started in the XFL come over to the NFL. Why? Because competition breeds greatness between both brands. But what I like about this here and about what the IHRA is doing is, like I talked about earlier, WWE is its own brand, and it is basically company based. It is not so much pro wrestler as taking care of the wrestler base. On the opposite side, Tony Khan takes care of his wrestlers and pays them well.
Yeah.
He doesn't put them through rigorous schedules, taxing their bodies and having risk for injury. We saw Seth Rollins get injured. Now you look at it as the IHRA taking care of the racer. Look at the treatment that was given to the top alcohol classes. They were the first to run after pre-race ceremonies. When has that ever happened?
Right.
Those type of things, those little things make a big difference, and the payouts are worth it. 2 qualifying sessions, they're not taxing parts. They're able to go out, race well, and make money to build their program. Also, these NHRA teams better beware, because now that these guys are getting more laps, these guys and girls are getting more laps now. When they come over to an NHRA event, it's that much more difficult. It's already difficult because they're running well and going A to B and keeping them honest. But they're going to start being able to put up a few numbers that might make your butthole pucker up when you get to the line. So all of this is great for race fans, and really it's great for both promotions. It is needed. This is absolutely positively needed. These folks' sponsors get seen. This is a steamroll effect here on so many levels, from sponsors to, the drivers being seen, to everything. This is perfect, and folks just need to embrace it and enjoy it.
Well, I want to challenge that a little. It was wonderful. And you had Monday Morning, you had Redline Media, you had Bobby Bennett, you had myself. I made a 37-minute rant talking about nothing but the wonderful time here in town. Dave W. shared that he's got a responsibility with the broadcast team.
Yeah.
Darren Williams chimed in. You had all of the drag racing independent media. This wasn't Fox. They can't touch this. They're not supposed to.
They can't.
They need to respect NHRA's best wishes always, right? ESPN and NBC are never going to touch any of this.
No.
And so we have to rely on each other to tell our truth, okay? And that's really what makes us all so fortunate to be credentialed members of the drag racing community. One, we all work our tails off. And we all have different prerogatives, whether we're trying to entertain at night or write an article or take great pictures or get an opinion. But there is about 20 independent media. Mighty Mac comes to mind, David Hoffman. There's about 20 of us. And we have a range in experience, opinions, and needs. And we're all selfish because we all want great jobs, great sponsors, great opportunities. So we're really co-opetition with each other.
Right.
But this week, we all seemed to be Team IHRA. And you, my friend, just said it was perfect. Well, let's be fair. What wasn't perfect? What area or areas did you say, wait a minute, the West Coast does this better? We got to step it up if we're legit out here in Ohio. Like, what area or areas do you feel like do need improvement right now, immediately? For me, it was lack of live timing.
Okay, yeah, that I will say that. But so here's my take on that too. I do agree the live timing would have been great, and that's something that NHRA TV has, and it's cool to see the incremental numbers. To me, I felt like me and Lee do a lot of Southeast Gas Association, and they don't show times. I felt like it was more about the action on the racetrack
Very
and
nice.
solely about who was getting to the finish line first than it was about the numbers. Because look, we all know about the numbers. Like
Yeah.
that's second nature to a lot of us. But the great side-by-side racing that we had, the Mac Attack and Del Worsham, I mean, it was 4:16.0 to a 4:16.6.
Yep.
Sure, but I saw close finish line racing, and that's what I was paying attention to throughout all of it, whether it was sportsman or the nitro or the alcohol classes. That's what I was paying attention to. It really wasn't about the numbers for me. But yes, they could do better about showcasing those numbers and letting the public or letting the fans see the incrementals, because that is nice too.
Yeah.
But man, we had a lot of side-by-side racing that sometimes with these manicured tracks that we get in NHRA for every single class, we don't get that on a regular basis.
You're definitely you're right, and it's funny. So I actually in person, I felt that. Oh my, look at that! That was a badass pass. You know, oh wow! I hope that pro mod racer's okay. I'm going to sit right here and watch their great response. And the safety convoy did do a great job responding to the on-track incidents this weekend. And by the way, if you're just tuning in to any of our shows for the first time this week, first of all, you're under a rock because we've all been on air a lot.
Yes.
I think that the safety convoy is an interesting name, and that's what IHRA is referring to.
Okay.
I'm not sure that this is a new term, or maybe they've used it for 70 years. And
Right.
It's a throwback term. I'm sure somebody can share with us. But if you're not familiar, the Safari is a brand, and the Safety Safari, those men and women are elite service people, and they take great care of racers all over the country, all over the world, it seems. The Safety Convoy is the newest formed team here in the IHRA. But in person, I agreed that the timing wasn't a sensation that I felt like I was missing out. Yeah. But I was curious if people who were not present, if they needed that live detail or not. So you're saying it was okay. It was still good.
Yeah, I felt it was still good. And I know a lot of people do like and are about the numbers, and I get that. And I think they need to cater to both. You know what I mean? But overall, it didn't matter. Like I liked watching the side-by-side racing. I mean, the Hemi Challenge was exceptional. You know, it was just great side-by-side racing, and it kind of, because of the racing, you didn't really care about numbers or speed.
Yeah. So out west, the trucks are on the road right now. We're going to change gears here, and the NHRA Seattle Nationals Northwest Nationals are taking place this weekend. They always bring big speeds and unexpected exits, it seems. We are going to now unpack what we're thinking. First of all, to be frank, I want to 1 year later, because I was not doing a show. I was in the ICU with the Force family last year in June.
That's right.
I want to stand up and cheer for Ron August and his great Top Fuel run last year. I thought it was one of the coolest things I have ever seen. And I at the time, I was with JFR. I was so proud of Dave Grubnick for supporting and walking over and helping Ron August and the several other tuners and mechanics. And that young man was this close to taking down Smoke in that semifinal round.
He was.
And I really believe it was anybody's race against Antron, just because he hadn't found that hustle yet. Obviously, at the end of the year he did. But he hadn't found that hustle. And Ron August, a year later, if you ever see this, we are still talking about you. Yes. DJ, they're going out to Seattle. What trends and topics are on your mind?
First and foremost is that night session. It should be. I have lowered expectations for the night session. We talked it up last year, and it was basically a Goodyear tire twerk session for the most part. Now you add that fact that it is a night session and it is only one session for the day. My initials are this is going to be a Goodyear tire twerk session. I'm not going into this talking big numbers. And yes, we've got crew chiefs that have the ability to do that. David Grubnick, AJ, all these guys have the ability to get it done. But we thought that several times last year when we had these perfect conditions and it was a twerk session. So I don't have great expectations on the night session. I think it's a good idea, but to have 3 sessions follow on a Saturday and the crews have to be back there early, you're really hoping that you're on time and it's going to start at 9:15 and it's still going to be late. We all know the NHRA gets behind if someone farts. So I don't think that they're going to be on time at 9:15 unless we're going to have a hard cut and no matter what, we're starting at 9:15 for the nitro classes. Other than that, I don't think it's a good idea to run 3 sessions on the next day because that's going to be a late night. And Lord forbid someone blow something up and have to stay late. That's an ugly rise on Saturday to have to run your first session at 11 o'clock. That's tough. And so I don't think that's a good idea. But all the you're going to have a concert on Saturday. They've got Fan Fest. I believe that is on Friday. You have this $15,000 casino thing. There's a lot of cool stuff outside and off the track and on the track that will be happening. I just hope that we have the turnout. And looking at the ticket prices for a Saturday night for one session, $70. If it's another session where it's scarce, I think the NHRA really needs to think about that and say, hey, we need to do whatever we need to do to get people here on a Friday night session because people want the night session. They cry for the night session. And then when you give it to them, they're not there. Well, if you look at the ticket price, then you're like, oh, now I see why. $70 to $80 is a little bit much for one nitro session. I think that needs to be adjusted. We'll see what happens this weekend, and we'll see how many people we have in the stands on Friday. But if we don't, that needs to be a hard consideration. Should have been considered last year. It was scarce last year. Should have thought about that and changed that this year. We'll see what happens this year and see if we get any people out there more than what we had last year, because we know people love that night session. And when they're not showing up, there's a reason. And when we took a look last night on the Power Hour, to me, that's the reason. So it's going to be an interesting weekend. The fields are a little short in some areas, but hey, it is what it is. Top Fuel is going to be the best of the best when you got 11 cars. All of them are good. All of them are good.
11's wild, man. I'm telling you, Pacific Raceways and their team, that's a family-owned facility. It's not ran, and when I say the following names, these are greats. This is not a jab. It's not ran by the NHRA. It's not ran by the Baiters. It's not ran by Bruton Smith's company, obviously the late Bruton Smith. This is a private facility that puts on street horse racing, that puts on horseback events, that puts on, like you said, a concert. And that Fan Fest, I haven't read up on it. Is it at the casino this year?
Yes, it is.
It's been because of the sponsorship, it's at the casino. They've had it at a Dave & Buster's the last few years. And you may think, well, that's a little cheesy. No, they have this bitchin'
Let me take
show.
that back. It is going to be the Fan Fest will be at the Dave & Buster's.
Perfect.
Will be at the Dave & Buster's.
Bring your kids, because I was a little worried about it being at a casino. Bring your kids to the Dave & Buster's if you're in the Pacific Northwest. They will have 40 drivers signing autographs. They'll have one of the nicest car shows you've ever seen, because if you're from the East Coast like we are, cars don't make it from the 1960s. We have this thing called salt that we put on the road. But on the West Coast, the cars survive, and we're talking not just 70s muscle cars, 1960s, 1950s, pristine vehicles everywhere. Then you go in and you get to play skee ball with Austin Prock, and you get to play hoops with, you know, your favorite driver, and then you get to go eat with Erica Enders and Courtney and have a drink with Clay Millican. It was like the most intimate, extra level of greatness when it came to family entertainment. One of my favorite places I've ever been on the tour was FanFest at Dave & Buster's in Seattle. And then I also want to say hello to the family and friends of Frank Teagues. They were so notable, and well, they are so notable in Seattle and the Washington area. Of course, the race being in Kent. And so the flavor pack, you know, business was on not only the national event, but the Top Fuel Dragster of Brittany, and Montana was on Austin's dragster. So Frank Teagues passed away a couple of years ago nearly, and his family and friends still continue to love the sport. I know Brian and Scott watch this show. If you're tuning in tonight, we still love you, and we still think of you when we race in Seattle, which is just great. So Seattle, it's going to be fast. You mentioned 11 cars. That's a hell of a lot of buy rounds in round 1 and 2.
Boy, it is. A lot of buy runs. You know, this is anybody's race, really, when you look at 11 cars. Well, temperatures are going to be great, so they're not going to see the hot weather that they've been seeing at pretty much every race they've been to this year.
Yeah.
I think this comes down. I actually picked Brittany Force to win this race. I know Justin Ashley and Sean Langdon have, you know, kind of, especially Justin has really surged forward. But when you talk about these type of conditions, it's got to be a matter of time before they finish the job. They've had their opportunities. They've put the numbers up. They've shown that they can, you know, pull that big number and that big ET out when they need to. It's just a matter of finishing the job. And I think in Seattle, Brittany Force will finish the job.
Well, I think a lot of fans would be really happy if you're right about that. In funny car, I think that, and this isn't any favoritism here, I think Austin's just about the favorite every single week right now. And
that's just fact.
I mean, he is more of a favorite than Force was over Tony Pedregon in 2002. I mean, it's not even my man Jack Beckman isn't even the favorite. It's Austin and those other guys still. And that's been a trend since he sat in that funny car. What about in that pro stock category? Will we see the end of KB's reign this week?
In the words of LA Knight, nah.
So you think, are you going with Dallas or are you going with the Greg?
I'm going with Dallas Glenn.
Yeah. Well, he's certainly, obviously, a great pick. They've just got so much stuff going on, right? And frankly, Elite will come right back. It's going to happen. I'm sorry, KB fans. I'm sorry to my friends over at KB. But these things come in waves. But for right now, I think that it really is going to be the Hendrick Chevy that's going to win, and I'm meaning Austin Prock and Greg Anderson.
Okay, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. It
feels right. And I'm sorry to everybody. Is this a motorcycle race or no? Are they in town?
They in town, but it's only 9.
So is it a Gage race?
It's Richard Gadsden's race.
So he may be the only driver I root for. I try so hard not to root for drivers. I think it's unprofessional. Yeah. Most of my friends in the media disagree with me on that. I don't root for my family over at JFR. I think of them as friends and family, but I don't root for them. I call it clean. But Richard Gadsden, man, he has the utmost character, and he knows that he is playing very dangerous volleyball, in a sand pit full of missiles and bombs. He is just, because the theory is every time you beat the boss, you're fired.
You got that right.
But that doesn't seem to be how he races or how they treat him. And when he got that first win, man, I was so happy. And I think more are around the corner.
He was so close here recently to getting a win. I knew once he got the first one, that's the glass ceiling you broke. Now it's wide open. And I really think in this type of format here, it's anybody's race. Gage really hasn't hit the fast bike is the rental bike. Right. So It's anybody's race, and I no disrespect, Matt, but it's too many times Matt has made his own mistakes and shot himself in the foot. I think Richard is just in a zone right now, and as long as he doesn't turn on the red bulb, I think this is a race that for him to lose, honestly.
Well, it seems to be that way right now. Here's something I've been saying, and people are just going to have to slap my wrist. I want to see Joey Gladstone and Corey Reed race head-to-head on a bike. I really want to see that, like, again and forever. Those are the two. I said I'm not a fan. If I could see Joey Gladstone back, but with his hair and the Miller Lite helmet. I don't want a little bit of this or a little bit of that. I want it all back.
Yeah.
Take me back to 2020, 21. Bring me back. No, I think that we're pretty solid on knowing which paint schemes at least are going to be in that PSM. But I say that, and I didn't even know they were racing. It's hard to follow it all.
It is. It really is. Honestly, I think they need to front load it, though. These short fields for bikes it doesn't help anyone. And I think the West Coast for some on the East Coast, I mean, Steve Johnson isn't even there.
Yeah.
So maybe I know I heard Brian Loans on his podcast. Exactly. I heard him on his podcast talking about incentives, maybe to get these guys out there and get some of the other racers out there. But, some either front loaded or incentives. And I think them having that big month gap basically after Gainesville, let them race and figure it out on the back end. Maybe the Western swing isn't for them, or we can find some incentive somewhere to get people to come out there. So one or the other, we can find a way that, where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, I had teased earlier in the week the biggest guest I've ever had will be on this show. Well, that's not who I'm about to announce, but I do have a really big guest coming on August 12th, and I'm going to ask him about this. Glenn Cromwell will be the guest on August 12th here on Late Lap, and we'll get to ask him. He booked it out 3 weeks ago, so and not only that, Mr. Cromwell agreed that the entire interview gets to be in my book, Diverse Roads, which comes out February 6, 2026. Awesome. Glenn's interview will be in the book.
Awesome.
But we can definitely ask him what's going on with this pro stock motorcycle class.
Yeah, definitely. And what I like about Glenn, he answers all the tough questions. You may not agree. I still don't agree with the participation trophy stuff. It kills the top 10 in that battle there coming down to the last race at Indy. But I understand where he's coming from. It's a business mindset where he's coming from with it. But Glenn's a great interview, and he doesn't dodge questions.
Well, he sure doesn't, and I think a lot of people hold him accountable in some unfair ways, and that doesn't mean that everything's perfect, folks.
Right.
He's asked for the feedback by being the CEO. But I do think there are lots of examples where the feedback isn't fair, and I've gotten to know him really well, mostly just by being around at the track, and I can't wait to tell some of those stories. So August 12th for that. Now, I wanted to go over one topic that you and I never talked about, but I texted at the very last minute. Last night, Major League Baseball, the All-Star Game, National League went up 6-0. American League tied it up 6-6. Game's over at 9, and they settle it instead of overtime or extra innings. They settled it with a home run derby. And I'm just curious, because I know you cover football and other stick and ball sports. How did that hit you? Do you love it, hate it? What's going on, man?
I thought it was unique. I still think they need to have something on the line, but that's a way to make it matter. And I thought that was very creative. And it came across on the screen as something that was not only creative, but was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. You kind of make you sit up in your seat a little bit and get your eyes glued to it and see what's going to happen. I thought it was absolutely an excellent idea to think outside of the box and do something different. And, I think people, when you look at football, would be clamoring for something like that as well. Not games not ending in a tie and maybe going to the old college football where each team gets the ball. It probably wouldn't be inside the 25 for NFL teams. I'd say probably inside about the 40 and see if you can get it in. I mean, inside the 25 for an NFL team is too easy.
I'd say first team to kick a 50-yarder wins.
That's a good one. Or 50. These guys are hitting those like it's chip shots. Make them kick a 60-yarder, a 61 or a 62. We got guys out there who can do it.
Man. I'm a traditionalist. I like the old American League, Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland baseball team's been my squad my whole life, and man, I felt like it was stolen from them at the end, but it sure made for about 12:15 in the morning entertainment there on Fox. They did a good job.
For sure.
The broadcast team was great. It was they killed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get to saying things like you miss Joe Buck, and then you realize, no, I don't. Okay.
No, we don't.
We're
waiting for him to leave an too.
I'm so glad that we did this. I was going to have you on tomorrow night. We did it tonight. Tell folks all about you and where they can catch you, what shows you do, where they can follow you, all the great stuff. Sell it away.
It is a lot. So you can follow me at NotBland21 on everything. I'm usually better on Instagram and Twitter. Will respond. I am the content director of sportsjourney.com. Never thought I'd be running that company, but that's what I'm doing with my colleague Connor Forrest. He's our chief editor, and we've got a lot of stuff going on over there. I've got an article up right now talking about Seattle. We talking a lot of NFL right now as camp is getting ready to start. You can catch the Not Bland Show on YouTube at the Not Bland Show. Give it a subscribe, give it a like, tell a friend to tell a friend. It helps us all out here when we're trying to get sponsorships and grow this particular channel. And yeah, man, this has been great. What you're doing here, AJ, is amazing. I've said it time and time again. To me, watching this show is like me watching the Jay Leno show on the first TV I ever had that was a black and white TV, staying up late watching Jay. I feel like when I watch you and the way this show is done, it's just like it. It's so great. And keep doing what you're doing, man. Always doing great stuff. And it's good and very it's a pleasure to call you a friend.
Likewise, my friend. Follow Dugenet Bland at NotBland21 on X and all of the other outlets he shared. On tomorrow night's show, David Hoffman from Beyond the Catch Fence will be the guest. We're going to preview the Dover race and touch further on the 2311 and Front Row Motorsport Charters. And the biggest guest ever, Michael Waltrip, two-time Daytona 500 winning champion driver and broadcaster for Fox Sports, will sit down in the hot seat very soon. We'll have a date for you. What do you think about that?
I love it. Kenny Wallace was dope. Such a great interview there. And he was so open about a lot of different things. I was always a Kenny Wallace fan. And to have that guy, shoot, that's going to be fantastic, bro. Y'all can't miss that at all.
I'm telling you, Michael Waltrip, he owned Herman's car. Kenny drove for Michael for a number of races in that old Aaron Dream machine. And I'm going to tell you all, and this is true, I would not be in this seat if not for Michael Waltrip. It's a rather emotional chase of a dream. And I'm going to tell you guys with Michael, he's heard the story. He hates hearing it. He's been good to me. I've gotten to know him. He'll be here to talk about his career and the future of stock car racing and Glenn Cromwell, August 12th. As I say at the end of every great show, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, smile, be happy, and until then, take care. And to our friends in the South, sea amable consigo mismo. Sea amable con otros. Sonría. Sea feliz. Hasta entonces. Cuídese. Good night.